Okay, live. Hey, Dennis. Thanks for joining.
Sorry, I so used to starting at 1:30 that I got it wrong.
No worries. Thanks for joining. Awesome. So, just as another reminder, we are recording, and this video will be recorded from start to finish for a later playback. So, to start us off, hello everyone. Welcome to AI with Hauska, sponsored by the Residential Design Professionals Facebook community. Glad you could all be here today. Just so you know, it will be posted on YouTube. And today we plan to spend the first part of the hour discussing AI and Web3 topics that design professionals could benefit from in their workflow. Then we'll talk about the Hauska Design Pro product and any questions or issues people are having with the product. So this is primarily just to level set everyone on AI. Today's topic will be a brief discussion about common AI chatbots and how to use a chatbot to create or respond to emails. So now a couple of short comments from today's sponsors. So the American Residential Design Awards is an annual process and event that recognizes designers across several categories. Dennis is planning to submit an entry, and if you're a designer looking to get recognized, we'd encourage you to do so as well. You can see the information on the screen for dates and getting more information, and using the Hauska Rocks discount code saves you $50 on your entry. Now, does anyone have any questions on the American Residential Design Awards? No. Awesome. Well, if you do have any questions, just throw it in the chat, and someone on the team will make sure it gets answered. In recognition of the Residential Design Professionals Facebook page hosting our webinar, Hauska is offering a new special discount on our Design Pro bundle released April 5th that includes a whole new AI engine. Use code RHD30 to receive 30% off any purchase. If you select an annual plan, you'll lock in that pricing for all the upgrades we release in the coming year. Leave this up for a couple seconds. Awesome. So let's jump right into our first topic of the day, AI chatbots. This will be more of a level set, as I was saying, for AI chatbots, showing one of their many capabilities. Large language models and AI chatbots are revolutionizing how we interact with technology and access information. By leveraging massive data sets and advanced machine learning, these chatbots can engage in human-like conversations, answer questions, and even assist with tasks like writing and coding. The primary way to interact with AI chatbots is through prompting. So I have up on the screen just a basic overview for what prompting is, and it's the art of creating and refining inputs to guide AI large language models. Detailed and clear prompts help AI understand the context and desired output better, leading to more accurate and relevant responses. Some large language model chatbots that I'm sure some of you are aware of, ChatGPT, found at chat.openai.com. We have Mistral Le Chat, Claude 3, Google Bard, Microsoft Bing Chat, Perplexity AI, and many, many more specific use applications. All the large language models that we've posted here are free to use. And they also have a paid subscription as well for a more advanced version of the model. So I'm going to copy this prompt. Today I'm going to use Perplexity AI. I use it in many different applications, but it has a bunch of different useful features that I think will be most applicable to the residential design community. So we'll start here. I'll copy this prompt. And it's super easy to get started. You just visit perplexityai.com or perplexity.ai. You don't even need to sign up to enter your first prompt. So you can just visit the website. They have different focuses here. The great part about Perplexity AI is that it focuses on providing information backed by reputable sources to give you quality information. So many chatbots will just give you information based off of what it's already learned. Perplexity takes that a step further and pulls actual information from the internet. And with this focus tab, you can choose to search across the entire internet and published academic papers on YouTube, Reddit, Wolfram Alpha, which is primarily for science or math-based computation. They also have a mode just called writing, which is your standard, as you know, chatbot interaction. So I'm going to select that focus. Or actually, for this prompt, I'm going to select all just to search across everything. And I'm going to ask the prompt, how will advanced technologies change the role of the designer in building design?
Hey, Sam.
Yep.
Can't see the perplexity screen if that's what you were sharing.
Yes.
There we go.
Thank you. Thank you. My apologies on that. So I'll start from the beginning. So creating a new thread here. I'll go back to just the Perplexity home page. And as you can see, you don't need to sign up. It's completely free to get started. To sign up, you'll be able to save your prompts and visit them at a later time. But just to get started, you can just visit the URL. Like I was saying, so this is that focus tab I was referencing. You can choose from any of these categories. I'll select all for this prompt, but you can choose writing to pull from Reddit or academic papers, all of the above. So for this prompt, like I was saying, we'll just do the entire internet and we'll ask the question, how will advanced technologies change the role of the designer in building design? So it gives a really fast response. Pulling from, it gives you all the sources at the top, as well as every single answer that it gives. It will give you numbers pointing to the link of the source. So clicking on these will bring you to the source page where it found this information. So it gave a pretty good answer. So improved visualization and communication. So technologies like VR and AR, which we covered at the AIBD conference, and photorealistic renderings allow designers to create more immersive and accurate representations of their designs. Increased design exploration and optimization, streamlined design and construction workflows, the incorporation of smart building technologies, and the utilization of advanced fabrication models. So a pretty solid answer here. And then if you're curious on any of these and want to dive deeper, you can, of course, select any one of these sources that they provide and do a deeper analysis of the response. Any questions so far on Perplexity AI or just large language models in general? Check in the chat here. Welcome to some of the new people coming in. Awesome. Well, I'll jump back to the presentation and we'll keep this moving. So now we're going to be going into a demo that we feel will help building designers and just their overall flow in giving you back time. So the biggest thing, and we use this at Hauska as well, is building marketing outbound emails. A big part of this flow can be kind of tedious, but AI makes that flow a lot easier. So instead of having to craft your own marketing outbound emails, you can utilize artificial intelligence. There's some key components to crafting a marketing outbound email, like your business name, the offer that you're trying to provide, the tone that you want the artificial intelligence to use, as well as the target audience. So we've crafted a simple prompt here, starting with the business name. We've come up with the phone name of Hauska Design Professionals. The offer is houseplans, renders, custom design. The tone is positive, professional, concise, and welcoming language. And the target audience is people interested in building a custom home. And the prompt will be generate an email using business name, offer, tone, and target audience that generates business opportunities. What this is doing is just providing some context for the artificial intelligence so it knows best how to attack the problem and best suit your needs. So we'll take this again. And I'm just going to copy all of this information. And I'll go back to sharing the Perplexity tab. And we'll start a new thread here. And instead, I'm going to change the focus from searching the entire internet to just writing. So asking the AI for some writing help. I'll enter this prompt. I'll get rid of the, oh, do that again. I'll get rid of the prompt guideline. And just so you can see here, this is all that I'm pasting in. And we'll submit that. And you can see very quickly it generates a really solid answer. So with the subject being elevate your dream home with Hauska Design Professionals, it says, dear potential client. I'm not going to read this entire email, but it goes through offerings, the house plans, renders, custom design, and then just a brief blurb about why you should choose Hauska. With best regards, Hauska Design Professionals. So it did a pretty good job. You're then able to go through, and if you don't like anything, or for example, if it's too long, you can ask a very simple follow-up of, please make this more concise and make sure to use positive and professional. So pretty easy. With that simple prompt, it took it from this multi-paragraph email to a very quick offers with 3 quick hits with the why choose Hauska. And if you wanted to, you could break this down even further or ask it to incorporate more. I'll go ahead and share this link to the Google Meet so you all can check out this prompt and use it for yourselves. 1 second. So you all should be able to visit that. I just put it into the chat. You'll be able to visit that and view the prompt that I put into Perplexity. Any questions on Perplexity or writing outbound emails? Anyone have any suggestions on things they'd like to see in the outbound email? Give it a second here. Nope. Awesome. Okay, well, we'll move on to the next part of our demo, which will be the inbound email. This is another really beneficial use case of artificial intelligence is managing your inbound emails. So for example, you accidentally extended your vacation by a week, and upon returning home, you receive this email. What to do? The subject, urgent, unacceptable design, I hate it. Dear Hauska design professionals, I'm writing to express my profound dissatisfaction with how late and trashy the design is for my proposed house. At this rate, I don't see how we'll be able to move into a new house by December 2025. Please let me know what you plan to do about this issue immediately. Sincerely, upset customer. What we found that AI can be really helpful is instead of letting your emotions guide you in writing your email, you can use artificial intelligence to help you write that email and keep a respectable tone when responding to clients. Because of course, this is your work that you've put a ton of time and effort into. The response that you write is going to be, you're going to have emotions behind that response, and instead use artificial intelligence to craft the best possible response to deal with this customer relations interaction. So for this, we could just copy this entire email into the artificial intelligence. I'll create a new thread here. I'll make sure I'm selecting writing. And I'll put this in. And sharing my screen again so you can see I have this in Perplexity. And then I'll copy this prompt of how should I respond to this email in a respectable manner. So it does a pretty good job of addressing their concerns as well as resolving next steps and helping out. So it gives a really solid email here, and you can adjust the length as we saw before to as long as you want or as short as you want, as well as emphasizing certain things like addressing concerns. So I could say, please make it more concise and emphasize. And as you can see with that simple prompt, it gives a really solid next steps, emphasizing the concerns and making the email a lot more concise. So you're able to very quickly get the point across. Another great part about this is it does so in a very calm and respectful manner. And it'll just make it easier to respond to the emails that you're getting and client interactions. So I'll copy this link as well and drop it into the meeting. So all of you can check out the prompts that I used and the response. So pretty easy to use. I think overall, I mean, the meeting's been only 20 minutes so far, and we were able to create an entire outbound marketing email and respond to an inbound email. And both of those probably only took about 10 minutes for both. So I'll go back to the presentation. Any questions? This will be the conclusion of our AI portion of the presentation. Any questions so far on the large language models or chatbots, or how to use them? Awesome. Well, we'll jump into can they work with leads? Yeah. Dennis, if you could elaborate a little bit more on that question. How so? Nope, can't hear you. Still can't hear you.
Can you hear me?
Yep. Yeah, I can hear you, Ted.
If somebody sends out bulk emails, just a mass emails, will that be able to answer those? Or Dennis, you there now?
Yeah, Dennis, I think I can hear you. Go and try again.
Oh,
And Ted? Oh, gotcha. You could just type in the question as well. Ted, what were you saying?
Dennis, you need to adjust your camera. There we go.
Can you hear me now?
Yep. Yeah, we can hear you.
Oh, there we go. I just had to unplug it and plug it back in. Sorry about that.
No worries.
Anyways, what I was trying to say is, so I have a list of leads
Right.
that if I'm not using something like MailChimp, or if it's just a small amount of leads, I don't want to create an entire campaign for it. So I'd rather just do it as the leads come in, because they're just small, like maybe somebody fills out one of my forms online or something like that. Can AI be set up to have a automatic response, so someone knows that it's coming in? Can it help with, so let's say I have 5 people I'm getting ready to send out to, but I want to create, and say all 5 of them have the same issue. They all just want a custom home,
Right.
and they all want to, and they all want something. They all want different square footages. Is there a way to make AI automate the response to those, so that I'm not bogged down every day trying to come up with 5 different emails for 5 different people?
Sure.
This takes care of it to where if they become, let's say they become a little bit more, they actually want the services, like, okay, yes, that's what I'm looking for, because a lot of times I get people who are just, they want to know what it's going to cost. And when they find out, they're like, oh, forget it.
Yeah, right, of course. So to integrate directly with your email service, whichever one you're using, that's a bit more of an overhead. I can share some resources at the end of the webinar that I can use that can integrate directly with your email service. I'd be more than happy to jump on a call with you to kind of help sort that out. But there are a ton of ways that you can integrate. So it really just depends on what platform you're using. But as far as doing it manually, I can show you that today. So what I'll do is I'll create a new thread. And you were saying people have specific concerns or specific requests. What you could do is you could create a very simple email template or a prompt template that said something along the lines of, I am I'm a residential building designer. I have client emails with specific design requirements and questions my business. I work Monday through Fridays, 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. I only work on modern houses, or I only design. And this is just an example here. And I hate just to give it some specification. You could fill out these specs in any way you want with like a bulleted list. And then, for example, you could then say, so that could be your template, right? I need help responding to this lead email asking about my business. So you could just save off this prompt in a separate text file or a document on Google Drive, wherever it may be. And then whenever you get an inbound email, you could just paste the email here. So we'll say, hi, Dennis. I want a with wood. And can we schedule a call? Yeah, right. Okay. I think that's how you spell that.
Yeah, 1D.
Nice.
Oh, shag. It's SHAG.
Oh, shag carpet and shag carpet. Can we schedule a call at 3 a.m.?
That's Wrigley for Ted.
So we'll send that in. So that's the email. It'll very quickly respond or build an email. I mean, that was less than 5 seconds. And it does a pretty good job at saying, thank you for your interest in the design services. Unfortunately, I do not think I'd be the best fit. Regarding your design preferences, I specialize in contemporary. Gives the times. I am unable to schedule a call at 3 a.m. as you requested. And gives some recommendations here. What you could also do with your prompt is say, so for example, instead of having it just turn down the customer, be optimistic and solution oriented if customers don't exactly. And you can get very casual with the language that you use with LLMs, which is really nice. But depending on how you want to handle these different situations, you could just put that in your template per se. So you could have it be more solution oriented that say, okay, well, maybe I can make it 3 a.m. the 3 a.m. meeting work. And you could submit that and it'll be a much more open and solution oriented interaction. So saying, well, I typically design modern, I'm happy to explore a townhome concept. Is more solution oriented towards the scheduling. So you can really have it answer in any way that you might need. It still doesn't want to make you do the 3 a.m. call, which I feel like is very valid. But it is much more solution oriented. So you can guide the LLM however you want with these email responses. And then we'll change the prompt to be, I want a modern home without any wood. No wood. Can we schedule Monday at 3 p.m.? And you'll see as well, if someone fits the bill, it does a good job at responding for that as well. It talks about.
Yeah, I mean, one of the components around your business that you might want to put in is, as Dennis was alluding to, how much one of your typical designs might cost, especially the bottom range, so that you can let the AI sort out if they're asking a question on, well, how much will it cost, right? Or can I get a plan for $500? The AI will help sort that out as well.
Yeah, right. So I'll throw that in there.
Awesome.
So we'll try. I don't. Sorry, what were you asking about pricing? I think I'll just throw in something.
Our plans generally run whatever it is, $5,000 and up for cost. Maybe run isn't the best word.
Yeah, that's one of those things where, like, I have a minimum. I don't even start my computer for less than $1,500.
Right.
Just because I mean, it would have to be something like, if I have somebody who's doing a deck, I mean, a deck takes me, half an hour. So yeah, those are going to be a lot less expensive. Those also don't end up on my on my profile or anything like that. Those are just how do I make a few extra dollars in about an hour and a half. But when it comes to a house design, yeah, I'm very specific that nothing starts under $1,500 because there's just so much on my end. You know, I have to be able to make a profit, and I
Yeah.
feel like that's a specific. So that, you know, I think what you wrote there is generally cost. Well, I can say, you know, that's probably a typical. If you look at a 4,000 square foot home, which has been my general, they're over 5,000 each. So yeah, that works out.
Sweet. So, and as you can see, so this is a great opportunity to point this out. So we're having something that's called an AI hallucination. So AI doesn't really understand the concept of numbers or time or mathematics. It does well with things like price of, for example, $20 versus $5,000. But for things like time and a specification like Monday through Friday, it can struggle with. So the way you word it is very important. So it says, unfortunately, I'm not available for a meeting on Monday at 3 p.m. As I typically be in the office from 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. Monday through Friday. So that doesn't make any sense. So that's just something important to note with artificial intelligence, is that it does hallucinate and it struggles with kind of physical or real world constraints. The way that AIs work is it's all based off of prediction. So it doesn't actually think through what Monday and Friday means, or Monday through Friday. It just predictably assumes what it might mean. So we can go in and change our query to
So you say that about the timing, but
yeah.
what if you have like a Calendly link?
Yeah. So
like
that,
I would throw my Calendly link up there. Would it use that instead?
yes. Okay. So that's a great way to work around it. So it's good to go through your template and make sure it's running correctly with certain emails like this, because there's things that AI will hallucinate with and run issues with. So this is also a free model. So using something like a pro model, it'll do a lot better at understanding that, just because it's had more training parameters. But for example, if you had a Calendly link in regards to meetings, please direct customers to my Calendly. So sweet, we'll just use that as a sample link. So it says you can book an appointment directly through my Calendly link, for example, and then it says, I'd be happy to schedule a meeting with you on Monday at 3 p.m. If you don't want it to give it a response in terms of meeting times because it might be overbooked, you can do something along the lines of, please do not confirm a direct the customer to my Calendly link. So as you spot issues and as you play around with it, you can add on to your base prompt to make it better. So I'll do this one more prompt. So this time it's saying I don't have the availability to schedule. So you'll just have to go back and forth with this to get a response that you like to a meeting time. Looks like Nick Smith, you have a question, or Nick, you have a question. Go ahead. Oh, you're muted.
Can it take multiple documents and give you suggestions? Like right now, I'm using Perplexity to try and write a design assumption and narrative for a project, but I've been working on it for a while, so I have like several different drafts of it. And I would, can you use it to like pull them together and make something like a base to start off of?
Yes, yeah, 100%. And these are textual documents?
No, they're just, they have technical information in them, but they're just docs.
Yeah, 100%. So I'll finish up this prompt. So before getting that, but what you can do is, let me just direct all meeting requests to my calendar. So you could do something like that to just have a direct all meeting request. But to answer your question, so with Perplexity, you can attach documents. You will need to be signed in. And on the free version, you can only attach, I think, 3 a day. But with the Pro, you can attach as many as you'd like. You can attach these documents and then have it say search across the entire internet. So it'll search in your documents and then any supporting information that it needs. It'll search across the entire internet. And you can say something along the lines of conglomerate the information in here, or you can search for specific things within the text, within the source documents that you have, and have it create a more unified document across the different documents that you upload as a source while using the internet as for supplemental information. And it'll tell you, for example, what things it found on the internet versus what things it found in your source documents. So yes, to answer your question, you can upload documents and have it use that.
Okay, thanks.
Yeah. It's really struggling with the meeting availability, but I think we've covered the general idea with it. To get this prompt better, you'll just have to play around with how it handles meeting interactions. But overall, it does a good job with the cost and handling customer requests. So with the budget considerations, $20 is quite low, and it provides a solution to that issue. So I'll share this as well in the Google Meet.
Yeah, and you could imagine, Dennis, to where if you gave the background of your prompt information about how much house designs typically cost, bottom line, the bottom line for decks and other types of things, it will give a response specific to the inquiry that they're giving and the relevant budget that you've laid out.
Right.
Yeah, I can see how as you go through, each time a prompt comes up, you can go back up to the original prompt and change something in there to address something that you saw or didn't see that needed to be in there. So I can see how this works in that. I use Chat GPT 4 because I just felt like if I'm going to use something, I'm going to pay for it. I'm going to get the best choice of it. Yeah. But I think that it does the same thing. So basically what you just did, I mean, I'll take it back to Chat GPT and use it there. But I did find something that with Chat GPT, if you use the 3.5 free version for the first 1 or 2 iterations and then take that into 4, it will give you a much better version. I just tried it on 1 or 2 things, not leads or anything like that, but a document I was working on. And I found out that, man, it just really, it gave me what I needed to begin with. And then when I wanted to get more detailed, it allowed me to really detail it out. But what I liked about this one here was it actually gives you where those references came from.
Yes.
That's something that I think is important, because a lot of times I'm giving out information and, I just don't have time to maybe look for every single aspect of this or that. And the AI seems to be able to help with that, bring it in quickly. But then sometimes I have to go through and look at something and say, okay, I need to study that a little more. I need to be able to go and find out where they got it so I can see what they're saying, because sometimes it just doesn't make sense. So yeah, I love this part. Thanks.
Of course. We have another question.
I have a comment. So so with Perplexity, I just linked an actual plan, a PDF plan, technical document. And I said, describe this, and it spit out a description. Then I turned around and said, make that into a narrative I can use to describe the house to market with. And then it spit out something that you could use to describe a stock plan. That was pretty cool.
Nice.
So it actually read the blueprint. That was cool.
So can you share that so we can see it? Or I would just love to know how it did it, because I struggle all the time trying to explain my,
let's see.
putting. I'm a
have
visual person. I draw for a living. And now you want me to put it in writing?
I know, right? I see if I can drop it in the chat. I don't know. I guess I could just share my screen.
Yeah, two things. Nick might need to be a co-host to share his screen. And as
Yeah,
well,
okay.
Dennis, if you pay for ChatGPT-4, you can tell Perplexity to use that as your LLM. So you get a combination of the power of that your paid large language model, and you get the benefit of all the referencing,
Oh, that's awesome. I love
right?
it.
Yeah. Right. So another important thing with Perplexity, so with their Pro version, so this is a personal account, but you can go into your settings that I have on Pro. So I use Perplexity Pro. So AI models are constantly having different versions released. With Perplexity, if you pay for their Pro version, you get to choose between the newest AI models getting released. So GPT-4 Turbo, which is the latest OpenAI model. You can choose Claude 3 Sonnet, Opus, or Mistral Large. Opus is currently the most advanced model on the market right now. So as new models are released, Perplexity, you can go in and actually choose those different models, and you can generate images within Perplexity. So it's kind of like a great way to get the best of all these different LLMs. And to showcase with Pro, it will actually ask you clarifying questions. So I'll ask you what the main goal of your response to the lead email is. So it can ask these clarifying questions. You can turn that off, but it'll find you some good, it'll ask good clarifying questions to ensure that you're getting the best response. So yeah, we'll move on from that. And Nick, you can share the link to your conversation in the top right as well, if you want to share that into the chat so people can read your conversation. So you can just click this.
I dropped it in chat.
Sweet.
Yeah, it looks like looked like it came out really good. If initially it just it really looked nice. And then I figure if you really wanted to spruce it up some, you could go in there and ask it questions to describe more. But yeah, it looked good.
Yeah, definitely. So awesome. Well, we're going to devote the last part of the webinar to doing a short introduction to the Hauska Design Pro bundle and do a quick training session. So if you've seen the product before, we updated an engine more recently for better generations on April 5th. So we're going to start with what I promised is a short 44-second introduction to our new bundle.
Welcome to Hauska. Today we're pleased to introduce the
While this is playing, can you all hear the volume? Yeah? Okay, great.
Design Pro Bundle, a comprehensive solution designed to elevate your visualization capabilities and streamline collaboration in home design projects. With Design Pro, you can generate custom 3D visualizations from 2D plans or photographs, maintaining over 95% line integrity for true-to-vision renders. Customize visualizations to your specifications, ensuring your vision is faithfully translated into the final product. Complementing Design Pro is Hauska Drive, a secure storage integration ensuring seamless workflows and safeguarding sensitive design files.
Great. Awesome. Well, today I'm going to show you how easy it is to get started with our Design Pro bundle. So I'll go to, it's as easy as going to www.hauska.ai. You can view the same video that we just watched on our homepage. You can click start a free trial, or a new feature that we add is booking a demo. So if you want a demo or a training session from one of us, you can use that to book yourself a demo or click get started to run through pricing. So yearly, you'll save 20%. With our discount code, you'll get 30% off the yearly price. I think that goes down to $33 a month. That'll be billed annually on our starter plan, and then monthly, that's $43 a month, billed monthly. On our starter plan, you get 600 Viz tokens a year and 5 gigabytes of storage. And then for the monthly plan, you get 50 Viz tokens a month and 5 gigabytes of storage. And then, of course, you can bump that up to our different plans here, as you see. So I'll just click Get Started. That'll open up our application. You'll enter in your phone number. Click Start Building with Hauska. Enter in the code you receive. You'll log in. And then if you're a new user, you'll get redirected to our sign up page. But if you're already a user, you'll just get directed right to our homepage. Within this, you can see Design, Protect, Exchange in your account. Your account is where you'll go to manage subscriptions. Exchange is for collaboration, which I'll be showing in a little bit, and we'll be building that out more in the future. Protect is where you can see your drive. And then Design is where you'll do your designing. So starting on Design Pro, we'll choose the exterior option. Our interior model hasn't changed yet. It's still the same as our older one, but we're planning a new engine release in late May, which I'll be getting to shortly. So starting with an input image, I'll select an exterior elevation view. So just so everyone can see that. Excuse me. So you can see the full elevation view here. It's a modern house with some lines over here for a kind of metal walls here, and then more of a smooth texture over here. We see our exterior deck. You can see some interior elements inside the windows, as well as a lawn right here. So to replicate that, we'll go into our exterior engine and we'll say that we want a, let's see here, cement siding with black metal and a lawn, for example, to capture the exterior lawn. And the biggest thing when prompting is remember to start simple and then build up your prompt. So start with the basic elements and then add more detail as you go. So we'll start with this render. It takes a couple of seconds. And while we're doing this, I'll do a quick poll asking who currently right now uses renders in their workflow. Yep. So you can answer that poll.
Looked like you had some hands raised.
Awesome. And you should be able to see the poll. Let me know if you run into issues. So we have 1 vote yes. And I'll get back to that poll in a second. So as you can see, it did a really solid job with the cement siding and the black metal siding, as well as getting your lawn in. Typically, it can take between 5 and 10 renders to get exactly what you want. So what we've introduced to help guide the artificial intelligence engine is prompt weight. So for example, you can see in here that there's a bit of a hazy sky. So we'll want to go ahead and remove that. This is a new feature that we just added. So by adding plus marks and parentheses around the element that you're trying to remove, or in the custom add, you're able to add more weight to that specific item. So by removing hazy sky, we won't see as hazy of a sky in our finished render. So we'll start with that. Looks like we have 1 vote yes. But looking at some of the other raised hands, it looks like many of you use renders in your output. So in your workflow. As you can see with our output here, by removing the hazy sky, we got a much clearer blue sky, and our render is just about perfect. You can see the interior elements as well. So that's our 95% line integrity. Of course, you're going to still have hallucinations as standard with any AI model. But we've done what I feel is a really good job to kind of reduce that with our line accuracy and making sure that it stays true to the overall design of the house. Yeah, so I guess the next step is potentially changing up the, say for example, we don't want a lawn. We could do, for example, we could say that this is in Utah desert. and we want to see desert landscaping. And then if we didn't want a lawn, we'll start with that. If it keeps on giving us a lawn, we'll throw the lawn keyword into the remove box of the engine, or of the prompt. And what that'll do is make sure that we don't get that lawn and we get the desert landscaping that we want. So it did a pretty good job here, but as you can see, there's way too much emphasis on the Utah desert, and it took a little bit away from the cement siding. I do kind of like how it fit the theme of making the cement siding a little bit more kind of tan to match the desert. But what I'm going to do here is I'm going to add emphasis to the black metal siding and run that again. Sweet. So as you can see, by adding a lot more emphasis to the black metal siding, is able to capture that. I do like, as I was saying, the kind of more tan cement siding, and we still have all the other elements of the image preserved. So we do have that desert landscaping. It is kind of a bit more of just a desert road here. So we could try and get it to be a little bit prettier by saying something like beautiful desert landscaping. Increase that prompt box there. That again. And it does take a couple of seconds. I guess I'll do another poll while we wait. So I'll end this poll. I'm curious how many people in the webinar use Design Pro currently. And depending on network speeds, these can take a little bit longer. Sweet. So with that, we got a little bit more of a hallucination. So you can see while it is we don't necessarily have the hazy sky, we got a very much so like a yellow sky, and the black metal siding is gone. So this does happen with artificial intelligence. It does have your hallucinations. By re-rendering it 3 or 4 more times, you're guaranteed to get a render that's a little bit, or that there won't be a hallucination. So hallucination happens. We've noticed like 1 with every like 5 to 10, you'll get a weird hallucination. So just by re-rendering over and over again, you'll get the result that you want. And it does take a couple of tries. Yep. Hand raised from Ted.
Yeah, quick question. So every time we hit render, that's one of our allotments of usage.
Right. And the thing to note with this is the viz token count will only go down if you get a successful image back. So for if any reason you run into an issue of like your network timing out or something along those lines, it won't decrease your viz token value until you get that image back. So we've taken that precaution as well. Another thing to note is yes, like you were saying, every single render that you do will cost a viz token. We've also made sure in our pricing that you're getting ample amounts of viz tokens per your subscription level. So I think with starter, you get 50. We're more than happy as well to collaborate with you if you're running out of viz tokens on your starter level and you're really trying to work through one visualization. We're more than happy to help you out and make sure that you get the render that you want. So we'll render this again. I'll keep the same weight, but as you can see, the yellow sky is gone. Won't do this again. So I think the important thing to note here is this is an iterative process. It can take a couple of tries. And every time you click re-render, it will change up the overall image. So the black metal siding with this new beautiful desert landscaping is gone. So I'm going to add another emphasis weight to this to try and get that back. And I may have to remove beautiful from desert landscaping. That may be adding too much weight in the desert landscaping portion of things. If you really wanted to emphasize maybe like some rocks in here or a beautiful landscape, you could put that in the textures. But as you can see here, so I think that was less than 10 generations where we're able to get a little bit more desert landscaping. And of course, being in the desert, you just get some shrubs here. And you get your black metal siding back as well as the cement siding. So to show off Hauska Drive, so I'm going to download this.
Sam, one last question in there if I can. Dennis asked about how are we at nighttime sky?
Nighttime sky. So with our latest model, we were able to get nighttime sky. So I'm going to go in here. I downloaded that, so we'll keep that. So, and we'll add nighttime sky to the prompt. So we'll just start with just the basic nighttime sky, and then as we feel that it needs emphasis or we're not able to get that, we can add that as needed. So just starting from baseline again, adding in nighttime sky. So didn't get with that one, so we're going to add a little bit of emphasis here. And we'll just add nighttime. Another good prompt that I've used is moonlit, but with the emphasis here, we're able to get more recognition around the time of day. So add some more weight to it. So it's starting to get a little bit darker. I'll try moonlight. So it's getting a little bit better. As you can see, I tried to draw in a moon there. But that is a little bit more of twilight / dusk. So I'll maybe add one more line of emphasis there. And then in the remove, you can add daytime. To remove any sort of thoughts of daytime and remove that from the emphasis. So as you add emphasis here, and as you're seeing elements that you want to remove in your render, you can just add that into the remove section here. So that's getting a little bit better. We'll render this again, maybe potentially moving one line of emphasis from the moonlit sky now that we've removed daytime. So this was a difficult and tricky thing to incorporate into the engine, just because it's difficult for the AI to perceive light during the nighttime and how that reflects in terms of the overall building structure. So we're getting better. I'll add the moonlit sky back and add another emphasis to removing daytime. So it's just something you'll have to play around with to get in your final render. But this is a feature, Dennis, that you've been requesting. So in the engine that we've spent more recently. Oh, this one's
Nice, Sam, you got the thumbs up.
Nice, awesome. I'm glad to hear that. So in the newest engine that we're training, so that's something that we've been spending a lot more time on, is the different times of day and trying to get a more nighttime features and more variability in that. So
one of the things that I've noticed is when I send things out, anything with a darker background and lighting on the exterior seems to be better received than anything else. Seems to be the most popular way to show things.
Interesting.
Especially in our area where we have, a lot of greenscape landscaping and stuff like that. So
yeah,
it just kind of shows off things more.
Got it. Good to know. That's really interesting. Yeah. So keeping that in mind. So we are working on a new engine. That's always a work in progress, is trying to improve the engine. And I understand you've been requesting this for a while. We've tried to incorporate it in this most recent release. It's gotten a little bit better, but in the next release in late May, we're really trying to incorporate that so it's really easy to prompt for. But showing off the render here, so you're able to retrieve the file, view it. We're working on incorporating thumbnails so you're able to see the renders in Drive, and instead of just having to base it off of the date, as well as being able to rename files. But today I'll show off the share functionality. So we've made it really easy to share your renders with your clients. So instead of having to download it and send it over email or something along those lines, you can just share this share link over a text message or something along those lines, making it really easy to collaborate. So you'll send it to them and I'll share a new tab. And this is what your client will see going into that. So they'll be able to download. Yep, you have a question?
Yeah, so saving it, is everything saved on your end, or can I save it in my computer?
You can save it on your computer if you'd like. So we created the Drive functionality and the share feature to keep it so that you don't have to have a bunch of renders that you're going back and forth on your computer. And you can download the final one if you'd like. So I'll show that in a second. But the primary feature of the share functionality is to keep files off your computer, lighten up, free up storage, and make it so it's really easy to share and collaborate with your client. So the next feature that we're planning on adding when it comes to collaborate is the comment feature. So you'll be able to share it and then view your client's comments made on the renders. So you're able to go back into your rendering tool and or into Design Pro and very quickly make the changes. So going back to Drive, you're able to go in and select download to download the file. So it'll download it to your machine. So I'll go back to this tab. So another question.
Hey, you hear me?
Yep. Yeah, I can hear you, John.
While you're on that on the Drive,
Yep.
I had downloaded, I've got several on the Drive. How do I create, and I see that I can create folders, but I can't like drag and drop or move images between the folders, or how, structuring them, because I would like to be able to set up for different clients.
Right.
I already had created, about 10 renders of 2 different projects, and I wanted to go ahead and move those into folders for each, and it wouldn't work. How do I do that?
So that's ongoing in terms of accessibility. So right now we don't. It's very rudimentary. It's a very rudimentary file system. So the idea is as we add accessibility, you'll be able to drag and drop files into created folders. But right now you have to download the folder or file, delete them, and then re-upload them into the folder that you want to see them in. The reason for that is just initially we wanted to ensure that we're keeping track of files and where they are. So it's a little bit more complex of a backend in that regard, and how we've structured it. But as we build accessibility out, we want to make it really easy for you to rearrange the folder system and file system. So that's the current way to do it right now, is you have to download the file, delete it, and then re-upload it. The plan is to make it so that you can rename files or drag and drop them into folders that you want them to be, just like the file system on your desktop. So that's ongoing.
If there was an intermediate way, like let's say before I went to do a rendering, if I just picked a folder to begin with, that it would put it in that one folder, that would be helpful. And I understand you probably have to develop a lot, but in order to not, if it's even possible, yeah.
Yeah, I mean that would be possible.
Like a default for that session, and then anything I did in that session would go into that one folder.
I really like that. Thinking about that, we could go into Design Pro. I think it'd be really interesting to have a step in here dedicated to selecting your output folder for where you want your downloads to go, or where you want your renders to go. So when you click download, it'll go directly to that folder. That's really insightful. Thank you. Thank you for this, the suggestion. So maybe we'll have that as a initial compromise before getting the drag and drop and structuring the folders in that sense, so that you're able to download it to a very specified folder of your choice. So great. And that one, in terms of overhead of development, isn't that big of a development cost. So that should be relatively easy to implement. And I think we'll plan on having that maybe later in May or early June as we prepare for our next engine release. So I wanted to share some more input images. So this is the input image that we had using today. It's really important with your input images that they're of a high quality resolution. With our newest engine, we'll be buffing those up so that no matter what input image you add, you'll be getting the best possible render. But right now, you'll need to input a higher resolution image to help out the engine recognize all the different elements. Another really important feature is making sure that your images have textures for the siding type that you want. So as you add textures, that will clue in the AI as to what texture goes where. If you keep it blank like this, it can it'll write in its own textures. So even if you put something, or it won't be able to write in its own textures. So if you put something like, I want a shake siding here, it'll struggle to recognize that because right now it sees a smooth surface. But that's also why it's able to pick up the black metal really well and smooth cement here. And here's another good example of an input image. So as you can see, there's a lot of texturing for the siding. So if I put in like a white board and batten and then a white kind of lap siding, it'll pick that up really well. Yep.
Hey, so I was just gonna ask if you have any recommendations for a service, if you don't have a high enough resolution input, is there an image upscaler online that's free that you'd recommend?
The biggest thing, it can be really difficult to upscale images, especially a line drawing while maintaining the line integrity. The biggest thing is just the screenshots that you're taking. Make sure that you're not taking a really small screenshot of the image. Make sure that if, for example, you're doing it in your design software, you're taking just a standard screenshot, you're blowing up that image as much as possible before taking that screenshot. So it's not a really tiny image, because that screenshot will reflect the quality of the output. So we are planning on having a upscaler within our engine, so you won't need to worry about that in our next release. So here's another good example with some good texturing here. So you can see the shake siding, the stone siding, as well as some vertical boards that could be used for board and batten or like a wood siding, as well as the roof here. And here's another really good example for if you want a brick, making sure that you're putting in all those textures for the siding for the AI to pick up on. Let me go back. One thing I forgot to mention, the darker the siding that you have in your input image, it helps the AI recognize the different color schemes that you want. So if you have this all the same color, it might not be able to recognize where the darker colors begin and where the lighter colors end. So having some gradients can help a ton with your renders as well. So the last portion that I wanted to talk about is what we have coming soon. So we've upgraded our interior and exterior model, and those will be coming out in late May. So here's a little gift that we've put together. We've focused a lot on the realism aspect and making sure that your renders are as real as possible, as well as adding more parameters. So being able to prompt for things like different shades of cement or like a rusted metal siding. We've tried to add more parameters in so that you're able to get really a lot more specific with your prompts. As you can see, so there's the input image, and then this next engine that we're releasing is just on a whole other level of photorealism. We found it really difficult to distinguish the outputs from a real image. Another interesting concept that we're going to be releasing late May, early June. Yep.
So you were talking about this next inversion being realistic. Is it possible to start working with companies and getting actual material colors?
Yes.
Example like Certainteed, snow, or something like that. You know, there are different colors and stuff that you can put in there, and they're different products. So that's one of the possibilities coming up.
Yes. So in this newest engine, I'll get to that, is the idea of a reference image. So you'll be able to upload one image that has the stylistic features of the house that you want to render. So for example, if you have a modern farmhouse that you're trying to render out and you have the elevation view, you could use one of your previous renders that you've done, or if your client has a Pinterest board and they have an example that they really like with all the colors and the features, you can download that image and use that as a reference image in your render. And it'll take all the siding types from the reference image and use that in your output image. The idea being, so if you have a specific exterior feature or a siding type that you'd like to use, the idea is you're able to find a reference image with that siding type and use that siding type in your output image. The idea is eventually you'll be able to specify multiple different types of siding types and specify exactly where they go on the house. But we felt with just this this next release, this is the next step forward in doing that. So you're able to get really granular with exactly what reference images you have, and making sure that they're a high quality reference image. You'll see that reference in the output. So actually, if you give me one moment, I'll be able to share that. Let me see how we're doing on time. I guess we can quickly. Give me one moment. So I'll just quickly share my desktop. So as you can see here, this is from our research and development. This was the reference image that we uploaded, and you can see the wood siding here, and then you can see that wood siding materializing in the output here. So it got the texture perfect, as well as it even went as far as getting the shadows on the house and the trees around it. So it was able to capture a lot from this image and use that in the output image. So you're able to use the elements of the input image that you'd like in your output image. So this is a great tool for previous renders that you've done. So capturing your previous stylistic tendencies and having that output in your output image. But the idea here is giving the AI a lot more clarity into what it's trying to render. Go back to. So that's all we have for you today. Thank you once again for joining. This will conclude our second webinar. Any questions, or if anyone has any elevation views that they've struggled with in the past and would like some help rendering, you can stick around. I'd be more than happy to stay on and help you with those renders for the next 30 minutes or so. But other than that, we're concluding our webinar here. Any final questions?
Real quick question for you. Sorry about that. Sorry, Ted. I was first now. So if I have a picture of a current house that I want to get certain things to look a certain way, is that possible right now on this current version?
If you have a picture of a house that you've taken and you want to change elements of that house, is that possible?
Yeah.
So we've primarily tuned it for elevation views, but you are able to get pretty specific with a house that you want. So for example, you can't edit very specific portions of the house, but for example, if you want to change the colors of the house, this tool is a great great tool in that sense. So you can input the photo of the house and specify the new siding color type. So you can say white siding or gray siding, something along those lines. What specific use case were you thinking in changing?
So I have a person who asked me about they have their house, they want to change the look.
Right.
And the way the house is, I said, well, if you could put some stone over here, maybe, at a water table level, and then change the colors. And then they said, well, can you render that for me? And I'm like, no,
Yeah.
Would a
sorry.
Yeah.
black and white photo be better?
I don't know if they have one. I could make the photo black and white.
Photo and ran it through their program. It wouldn't add stone or anything, but it might
Yeah.
color stuff for you.
Right now we have it so you can't change structural elements of the house, and that's just so that it adheres to the lines. That's our accuracy. Idea is that we want it to be as accurate as possible to what's currently the integrity of the house. We are working through a remodel engine as well that will it won't adhere to the lines. It'll get the general outline of the house, and then you'll be able to add elements as you see fit to change specific elements of the house. So you can do that for kitchens. And then with the reference image tool, you'll be able to, for example, if they want to change their house to look like a different house, you could input a reference image, and then it would take the stylistic components of that reference image and use that in your remodel. So that's not available today. That's a feature that we're anticipating, as I was saying, very late May, early June.
Okay. I was just going to send it over to Nick and see if he could do it.
What happened from Dennis? Thanks. Yeah, I was on the first webinar. I've tinkered with it a little bit. I've never really done renderings. I just do two-dimensional drawings. And it's nice for the elevations I do. I just have to take some notes off and darken some lines. Not a big deal. But yeah, I like coming to this because I pick up stuff each time. So I was at the first one, this one, and just want to say thanks for being AIBD members. I saw your guys' charter went through. Yay.
Of course. Awesome. Yeah. Thank you, Ted. Thanks for joining as well. Yeah, we're happy to help in any way possible. And we're beyond excited to be partners with AIBD and being an AIBD member. Yeah, it's just been, it's really huge for us. And like I was saying, thanks again for joining the webinar. We're always planning on doing training sessions at the end of it. So like I was saying, if anyone has any issues with the Design Pro tool, or even just AI in general with Perplexity, I'm more than happy to stay on for a little bit longer and work through some of those issues. So,
and I would just like to say, for those of you who are on the residential design group, if you could go on and post how great this live was and how everybody should have been here, and those who missed it missed some valuable information, that would be great, because then we could start getting a little bit more, because I think everybody thinks that it's just one thing. Well, today wasn't one thing. I mean, they did something pretty valuable. They showed us how to use AI that wasn't even a part of their stuff. And that's what they said that they were going to try to do that. So that was helpful for us. Because some of us old people, we don't do so well with AI. We don't understand it like Ted. So
You think you're old, Dennis?
what's that?
You think you're old, Dennis?
Not yet. I'm not at the TED age, so I'm good. So
yeah. I mean, that's really our goal, is to make sure that we're providing insightful information outside of our platform, because there's so much that we don't cover yet, and there's so much that you can do with artificial intelligence. I mean, our entire mission is giving time back to building designers. And there's so many interesting ways you can do that with artificial intelligence outside of just the rendering aspect of things. So we're always trying to bring new concepts and ideas to our webinars. So thank you, Dennis. I really appreciate that. Yeah. Ted, you had another question?
No, hit the wrong button. Old.
No worries. Any final questions before we wrap this up?
No.
Awesome. Sounds good. Well, thank you, anyone. If anyone wants to stick around, I'll be on for the next 15 minutes to answer any questions about Design Pro.
And Sam, if you want later, if you want to add this to the group as so they can rewatch it, that's fine. Not sure exactly where you want to do that, but if you need to, just let me know. We'll work that out.
Yep, we'll do. Thank you, Dennis.
Right. Sounds great.
Have a great afternoon.
Thanks, everyone.